Section 10 of the American Postal Service, Second Edition. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Michelle Fry, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The American Postal Service, Second Edition, by Louis Melius. Chapter 4, Special Articles, Part 5. Wireless telephones in the rural service. From that memorable day in June 1875, when Alexander Graham Bell discovered a faint sound emanating from the curious little machine over which 3 years of patient labor had been spent, until today, when the world is debtor to this great man for one of the marvels of the age, the telephone has been a constant wonder, and especially so at this time, when its adaptability for the common uses of life has made it of value wherever civilization extends. Mr. Bell was a professor at Boston University, and his honors came to him at an early age, for he was but 29 when the patent that was to make him famous was granted by the government. He exhibited his invention at the Philadelphia Centennial Exposition with but indifferent success. No attention was paid to him until Don Pedro, Emperor of Brazil, a visitor at the fair, who knew the young inventor, placed the receiver to his ear while Professor Bell, in an adjoining room, spoke into it, and, listening to it a moment, looked up with the exclamation, "My God, it talks!" Recognition by the judges was then hurriedly given, and future success assured. The 40th anniversary of the award of this patent was fittingly celebrated at the annual dinner of the National Geographic Society in Willard's Hotel, Washington, D.C., March 7, 1916. The account of what occurred there, the splendid tributes paid to Professor Bell by the distinguished men present, appears in the March number of the National Geographic Magazine, 1916, and presents a story of achievement of which every American can be justly proud, but is not a matter of pride to American genius alone, but shared alike wherever men do homage to intellectual worth and greatness. But what of the future? Can the telephone be brought to still other uses than already known? Can it be made adaptable for field use, for rural purposes in the country districts of the United States? The Electrical Experimenter, for April, 1917, discusses a practical possibility in this direction, not for civil pursuits, but for military needs. It mentions a wireless telephone set mounted on a motorcycle for Army purposes by means of radiophonic communication in connection with a military airplane. This is, of course, intended for military purposes only, but shows the great possibilities involved and advantages that may follow fuller investigation of wireless methods. All questions of wireless development for military needs, however, may now be safely left in the hands of those directly concerned. Perhaps the greatest interest centers at present in its possibilities in the field of the rural delivery service, where its successful introduction would work a most tremendous change. If, for instance, it could be used by a rural carrier, what a field of opportunity it would open in connection with such service. Is there a possibility of such accomplishments? It would seem that there is, from the investigation and discovery of a young electrician, Earl Hansen, of Los Angeles, California. He recently demonstrated to the mayor of Los Angeles and the president of the telephone company that his apparatus could send music, talk of any kind, whispers, and signals without wires. His device is so light and small and yet so effective that when attached to a bicycle used by a policeman, constant communication could be maintained with the laboratory. 1 or 1,000 receivers can be attached, and each hears as distinctly as if they were in the room from which the sounds proceeded. The only explanation of this marvelous process given is that the inventor used very low-frequency wireless waves in a new way. The great drawback to wireless telephony and telegraphy has always been that the air is one great line and always busy. Hansen's plan aims to overcome this. To send messages through the air is split up around him by the operation of other stations. All this is wonderful and may require more demonstration to prove its adaptability, but science is at work, and it is not improbable that wireless telephones for rural use and purpose may ere long be successfully accomplished. The Jasper, Florida News voices this prophetic hope in a well-written article which recently appeared in that paper, and we take pleasure in presenting that portion herewith as a compliment to editorial enterprise and a far-seeing vision of coming events. Quote, "An improvement which we confidently look forward to as being made in the not far distant future will be the establishment of a wireless telephone system at every county seat in connection with the rural free delivery service. By means of this wireless telephone, the carrier would be enabled to communicate with the post office from any point while serving his route, and the post office could call any carrier it desired and deliver a message which the carrier would get without even stopping his automobile. The advantage of an arrangement of this kind can be easily seen. The farmer could meet the mail at his number, and over the wireless could call a doctor, send a telegram, inquire about the market direct with the buyer, have Uncle Sam to run his errands, and many other things too numerous to mention. Truly, we are living in a wonderful age, but more wonderful things are coming." End quote. Parcel post exhibits at county fairs. One of the methods by which the Department is bringing the advantages of the parcel post to the attention of the people of the United States is by means of exhibits at state and county fairs and other civic expositions. While there is no appropriation available for such purpose, postmasters who are interested in this government experiment to bring producer and consumer together and so reduce the cost of living expense have shown such desire to aid in this matter, and their efforts have been so generally successful in this direction, that space has been freely given and great benefits have followed in all communities where this plan has been tried. From reports at hand, it appears that 94 of such displays have been held in various states, and that 30 additional fairs were yet to be held at which such parcel post exhibits were to be made a special feature. By tens of thousands, both city and rural populations have been afforded an opportunity to see working demonstrations of the farm-to-table service and been enabled to profit thereby. These exhibits are generally so instructive to the people, and farmers so willing to show by card or samples of goods what they can furnish, and the postmasters so ready to cooperate in every way to make these postal exhibits a success by showing different styles of containers, the best method of packing, etc., that no opportunity should be lost where county fairs are held to secure space for such exhibits and make the most creditable display possible. The postmasters are the proper parties for carrying out the purposes of the government in this connection, and the Department is anxious that such opportunities be availed of, that the advantages thus offered may be utilized to their fullest extent. The great express service of the government. The parcel post, the great express service of the government, is now used so generally and for so many purposes that the mention of some of the things that are being shipped may be of interest. For instance, at the Lincoln County Fair at Merrill, Wisconsin, some time ago, there was an exhibit of a take-down house, all the parts of which had been sent to Merrill by parcel post. Indeed, the shipment of lumber by parcel post is not now an uncommon thing, due attention being paid to postal requirements. At Gridley, California, a patron entered the office with several small sacks of some heavy material and asked to have them forwarded. The clerk, after weighing them, regarded the sacks with some suspicion, and upon inquiry of the shipper, learned that the sacks contained dirt, soil from a farm, which he was sending to the State University for analysis. Another patron appeared at the office in the morning with a package of meat under his arm, and posted the parcel to a family in Marysville, California, remarking at the time that Mrs. ordered this meat for supper. An enterprising farmer at Burke, Virginia, advises the postmaster at Washington, D.C., that he would kill a steer on December 1st and would sell the cuts of meat at 1/3 less than Washington retail prices. His offer was advertised in a farm list and in a parcel post trade paper, and before the steer was killed, the meat had all been engaged. The cuts were sent to the customers in market baskets and containers. The farmer was offered $35 for the steer on the hoof, but realized $45 by individual sales, and the hide paid for help in parting and dressing for market. Orders came from Washington, Baltimore, and even from Long Island, New York. The postmaster of Denver, Colorado, reported that on Thanksgiving Day, 1914, more than 1,000 perishable parcels, 80% of which contained turkeys, were received at the Denver office and delivered in good condition. The list of possible shipments of every conceivable kind and character could be indefinitely extended, for it is known that the scope of subjects that can be handled by the parcel post is practically limitless, and only awaits proper enterprise for productive profit for those who will engage in it. The parcel post is without question a great success. There is no other measure of interest connected with the service which presents so many economic possibilities. Its great advantage over the private carriers is apparent, and the benefits quickly seen in practical operation. The United States mail goes everywhere throughout the length and breadth of the country. Private expresses are governed by the avenues of profit. The government is not concerned about profit, but regards service as of paramount importance. Hence it directs its activities to all regions alike, going where there are no express offices or ever likely to be. This is the great distinguishing feature of the parcel post, and its benefits, as can be plainly seen, are chiefly for the rural sections, who would be denied these advantages were there no such service in operation. The whole effort of the parcel post aims to furnish an exceedingly reasonable method of interchanging commodities between the farm and city home, something which no private corporation has ever attempted or would undertake to do, all such enterprises being purely for gain and profit. The farmer can now find the opportunity he has been seeking. By some little care and attention to the conditions that assure favorable results, such as putting himself in touch with his customers, properly packing and furnishing a good article at a reasonable price, he can develop a profitable market for what he produces, reduce the cost of living to others while reaping an advantage for himself. The telephone and parcel post in cooperation. Elsewhere, attention is called to the future possibilities of the wireless telephone for rural uses, but in the meanwhile, the many uses to which the telephone can be put in the common affairs of life is being industriously employed in all the rural sections of the country. The farmers have learned to make daily use of this convenience, and it is doubtless employed to almost as great an extent there as in the cities and commercial centers. The farmer's wife can talk to the village store or to the more ambitious establishments at the county seat, or perhaps reach a neighboring city for her wants, and Uncle Sam is so anxious to oblige her and has made such ample provision for the purpose that her wants can receive instant attention and be promptly supplied, a matter gratifying alike to the customer and the merchant as well. It was altogether different before these conveniences were available. It probably meant in those days a visit to the city or town, or if the need was not pressing, the friendly aid of neighborly interest and concerns in seeing her wants supplied. In the hurry and rush of modern life, taking everything for granted and considering nothing uncommon, we are apt to pay little heed to the many comforts we now enjoy, and of which this government provision for speedily supplying our wants and needs forms no inconsiderable part. The local merchant also comes in for his share of advantage, to which the telephone and parcel post so greatly contribute. The scope of his patronage is now broadened and enlarged. 150 miles of territory have been added to, and is now tributary to the field of his industrial enterprise, and he can fairly compete with mail-order houses by the lower rates of postage within this zone. Quite an item in his favor, for it is practically a rate of 1 cent a pound, or but little more, which with some business ability and advertising push will give him a field of opportunity wherein he can enter with every prospect of at least an equal chance with any of his competitors. End of section 10.